Hello and welcome to Athena's Creations 2017. I'm Athena Turk. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I have been a demonstrator since 2017. And I want to share with you this really fun fold card that I created using a brand new suite in the Stampin' Up! Annual catalog that was just released earlier this month. This is the Bright and Beautiful Suite collection, and I always like to try and copy or to make a card very similar to the samples in the catalog, but this time I decided I wanted to do a fun fold, and so I got out some of my different fun fold templates that I have created with all of the information and measurements so that when I get a new stamp set or bundle or suite, the sky is the limit to my creativity. And so this card was created. I'm using a little bit of designer series paper, and the rest of it will be stamping. And I kind of got this idea from the catalog. So back here, there's some coordinating product that was just recently available to all of us with the catalog release, and that is back here in the Memories and More section, which I thought maybe I did. Oh, that was for the colors. I haven't gotten my tabs in yet. There are some tabs that are available to demonstrators that you can get, and it should mark off all these fantastic places in the catalog that I don't have memorized just yet, but here we go. And so this is the coordinating product on page 134 and 135. There's these amazing envelopes, and that it's part of the Cards, Memories, and More. So there's 20 card bases, which have two different designs, really beautiful. It's 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. It's a little bit bigger than regular A2 card size. Comes with these really beautiful decorative envelopes, and of course the Bright and Beautiful Memories and More card pack. And all of these coordinate with this beautiful bundle and suite. Now this right here is what gave me my inspiration for that piece. And of course I see lots of fun, and more videos will be coming showing off this amazing bundle and suite. So let's get started. I've got everything pre-cut and pre-scored, and this is part of that beautiful paper. And so here's my template for the measurements once more. The card base is 11 by 5 1/2, scored at 1 3/4, 3 1/2, 5 1/4, and 7. And so the card base, I'm all thumbs. Here's the card base. So we've got all these score marks. So it's going to make this really fun. Almost looks like an accordion, but it's a fun fold. And the middle piece of cardstock, and this is Misty Moonlight. This is 6 by 3, scored at 3, so it's right in the middle. And then the layering piece, one we're going to stamp, and one is part of the designer series paper. That is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and that's what's going to make our panels for the inside. And then the big piece here in the middle, which I realize I don't have it. Oh, that's this piece here. I thought I didn't have that one, but I have everything pre-cut and it's pre-scored. So the piece on the inside is 3 3/4 by 5 1/4, and then the panels for the inside, they're 5 1/4 by 1 1/2, and so you've got 4 panels. I've got 2 that are designer series paper, and I've got 2 that we're going to stamp. And as you can see with this bundle, there is lots of beautiful stamps that can be used, and of course amazing dies with this. This card's featuring a fun fold, and we're not really using the dies for this one, but we're using a lot of stamps. Sometimes that's all you have is stamps, ink, and paper. That's the best way to get started. We're going to go ahead and stamp. That way, everything, once it's stamped, will have a chance to dry, because when you have a new ink pad, it can be really juicy sometimes, and if you touch your paper before letting it dry, it will smear. I know this because I've done that before, and I want to save you the heartache of that. So the big piece right here, I'm just going to fold over, and then I'm going to fold it back on itself. I've got it all pre-scored. I'm just going to fold back on itself again, and then once more. I will say that I sent this out, a card like this one, in the mail, and it does take a little bit of extra postage, so just FYI for some of these fun folds like that. Here's our 2 panels, and then we'll adhere those in just a moment. One of our panels, we're going to use the beautiful new Azure Afternoon. There we go. And the stamp that we're using is this fun decorative one right here. And we're just gonna, it's a brand new ink pad, so it's really juicy. Tap, tap, tap should be plenty. And as I'm stamping, I'm gonna move the stamp. And you wanna give it a couple of seconds to let that ink soak in. And try not to rock your block. Sometimes when I'm in a hurry, if I rock the block, it will smear. And I always like to make sure that I mention all the fun tricks and tips that I can. This is going to be one of our inside panels. So this is another technique to make your own background, your own designer series paper background, just using your stamps, ink, and paper. And I'm trying to make sure that I turn it enough so that there's lots of really fun designs. Just keep turning the block. And it's really, really simple. And my inks stain the blocks until I clean them. So I always like to bring in that little chamois. And you can see I use my chamois all the time. But it's a good habit to clean your stamps in between. That way, you don't accidentally get your really nicely stamped, newly stamped paper could accidentally touch that ink and ruin your design, possibly. So the next color we're going to stamp is the Fresh Freesia, which is a beautiful in color. Love all the purples and pinks. And this one was an in color, is now part of our core colors. And that was a core color if I didn't mention that before. And so we're going to use this design right here and make the next panel. Really nice. There's like stars and almost like a polka dot. Really fun set. There's a lot of possibilities. I plan on coming up with a shaker card or 2. And I plan to get the Memories and More out and probably alter some of the envelopes, maybe turn it into a bag, and I will definitely have a tutorial for that. Don't know how soon I'll have it, but I will definitely be working on that one. There's so many amazing stamp sets in our catalog. Love, love, love it. So those are the 2 panels. So while those are drying, we'll go ahead and stamp our balloon. Let's see. Yep, we've got our really nice balloon. And so that's this one right here. And sometimes when I'm trying to design a card, I will just put the ink to the paper and then use the die cuts. And I liked how this turned out. And so I thought that would be the perfect happy birthday for the front of this card. It also looks really good when you add the splash of design there. What else do I have here to show you? Oh yeah, here it is. So this one just goes right on the top. So it gives it a little more character to the balloon. We have 3 sizes of balloons, which is really nice. And this one, you just want to make sure that your stamp is clean. Photopolymer will pick up little bits and pieces. And there's always dust in the air. So just be aware of that. And then wherever you decide to commit your stamp, go ahead and just press down firmly. Give it a few seconds, especially for this kind of a stamp, so that the ink can completely soak in, the image can completely soak onto the paper. Now it looks dark and then light. Nothing wrong with that. As you can see, once it dries, it'll look just like that. When I first started playing with it, I was worried that there was something wrong with my stamp, but there's not. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. And so while that one is drying, we're going to go ahead and assemble part of our designer series paper. And you're just basically going to, I eyeball it, but you can totally use your grid paper to measure twice, cut once, I believe is a carpenter's term. I'm going to hold down the bottom, lift up the top so that I can apply some adhesive. And I'm using Stampin' Seal. It's a great adhesive once you figure out how to work it, and I do get some of the glue pieces there for some reason. No explanation, don't know why that is. So let's go ahead and put the first panel on. And again, I'm just going to try to get it as close to centered in the middle of the 2 score lines as possible. Again, holding down the bottom, lifting up the top, and I'm advancing it just a tiny bit. So I got a little adhesive on my fingers, so I just put it on the paper. Just make sure, come back through. Then we're going, if you get some stuck, you can just rub your fingers and it's like a glue dot. It comes right off, so no worries. So this is going to be the next piece. Hold down the bottom, bring in some adhesive. And then our very next panel is going to be this one. This is a really bright and beautiful stamp bundle. I absolutely love it. Lots of choices on the designer series paper. Here's our fourth panel. And I love that the designer series paper is 2-sided because, of course, if you don't like one side, you're bound to love the other. And I'll admit, I don't think I've met a side I didn't like. I loved all of them. Okay, so this one should be dry. So we're going to go ahead and come in with our happy birthday from the same bundle. Beautiful balloons. Love this one. Every new catalog, I always find a happy birthday that I love. And I think this is the one I'm probably going to use quite often this year. It is a great stamp. I'm using Memento ink to come back right on the top. And then just hold it down for a couple of seconds to make sure that the ink soaks in. Absolutely gorgeous. Love it. I love a good stamp set, and I love photopolymer. I can actually see where I am stamping, and that's important to me. And again, we're going to wait for this one to dry, and then we'll finish adhering it. While we're doing that, I'm going to go ahead and get out my ribbon. Starry Sky, one of our in colors that carried over. Really beautiful, bright colors. And I just wanted to give a little something to the bottom. So let me show you. I just come up with 2 rabbit ears, basically. Hopefully you can see that. And crisscross them. It's basically how I showed my son how to tie his tennis shoes years and years ago. A couple of decades, actually. And so I just kind of keep maneuvering the ribbon until I have the bow that I want. And I try to keep it on the spool. To me, it just makes sense, because if I try to measure and cut it off, I tend to not get the length that I want. Pardon my reach. I have to get my special ribbon only scissors. So these are dedicated to ribbon only. In other words, nobody in the house can get these scissors and use them, just me. Okay, and so the next thing I do is I like to use glue dots. And for some reason, I cannot find where I did with my glue dots. So how embarrassing. So glue dots are a great way to adhere our ribbons. I must have used them all up. So let's grab another glue dot box. Oh, good. Looks like they're on the inside or on the outside again. I had a set that I got and they were different. I use my take your pick tool all the time. I tend to roll it over, and that's how I apply to the ribbon. It's using the glue dots. And once I have it where I want it, then I just trim off the bottom there. And you'll see it tries to fray. That kind of gives it its own uniqueness. See how it frays like that? I like that. It looks really good. And so this one's going to go right on the top here, right next to this one. Just like that. And now we're gonna stamp the very last piece here. And this one, we're going to be cleaning the stamp a couple of times, because you'll see there's several different colors. And so I am going to start with the lightest color first. Another new, not in color, but another new core color, Lemon Lolly. And then the second one is another fun new core color, Bubble Bath. And then we're going to come in with Pretty Peacock. Or no, wait. It's always the lightest to the darkest. So the third color will be the Azure Afternoon, another core color, and then our Pretty Peacock. And in between, I'm going to clean the stamp, and it's this really nice big stamp here. Honestly, when I first got this, I had no idea what this was for until I saw the sample in the catalog and thought, I'm totally going to do that. So let's go ahead and get started with this one. It's Bubble Bath. Oops, inky fingers. And I'm just going to put some ink on there. Hold it down for a couple of seconds. And then if you don't think there's enough color, we have what's called the blender pen, which is really amazing. You can pick up the color and then you can just like paint it on, fill it in. And I did that on the first couple of cards that I made. And the beauty of this pen, it's magic. You just do this and it cleans it right off. They come in a 3-pack. I'm going to go ahead and close this one up so I don't accidentally get ink everywhere. And then clean our stamp. Love the photopolymer. You can see through it. Then the very next one is going to be Lemon Lolly. Here we go. And since I don't know which side I'm going to use, because I always change it up, I just want to make sure there's enough ink on all of it. I think I'm going to turn it around this direction. No right or wrong, just once you commit, just hold that block there so that you can get all the ink in. That looks pretty sharp. I love these colors. Oh, see what I just did. Oops. No worries. This is a handmade card. And guess what? This one's going to have some extra pretty color. Lemon Lolly. I'm actually going to do something fun. It looks like, well, I'll show you. I'm going to bring in, let's see, I do think it's on a block, the balloon. I think I'm going to bring in a balloon, make it look like I intentionally did that since I messed up. Great opportunity here, because if I didn't like it, I could turn it over. One of the reasons why I like to stamp first and then apply to my card. But this one is a great opportunity that I want to share with you. Let's use Azure Afternoon. And we're going to put this balloon right on top. You can see it's really, really juicy. So it's going to look like I did this on purpose. And again, once you commit, just give it a few seconds. Voila. And now we're going to go ahead and bring in our third color for the top. And I'm just going to go just like that. And you can see it kind of, or at least to me, it looks like it didn't quite get it all on there. So I'm just going to pick up a little bit with my blender pen. Just kind of blend it in a little bit there. Just like that. And let me try not to do what I did just a minute ago. And then again, I'm just gonna get all that beautiful ink right off. That's our blender pens. And then I'm gonna clean this block one more time. And we'll do the last color here, Returning Pretty Peacock. This was an in color as well. This is the last one, the last color. We're going to just bring it in. And you can see I didn't get enough ink. That's okay, because this amazing blender pen is going to help bring in more color. Kind of helping to fix some of the mistakes sometimes. But they're not really mistakes. They're just opportunities to show off other products that help crafters. And then just rub it off. And you're good to go. All right, so we're gonna wait for just a second or two, let this dry, because I don't want it to smear. I have to say I really love fun folds. I'm gonna hold down the bottom, lift this one up, and then go ahead and apply the adhesive. And you can see how this is coming together. So putting this section piece, the middle piece on is an intricate part to this card. It's going to go just like that. But before I apply any adhesive, I just want to make sure it's lined up. Oh, I used stars, and the original one used those other little. So yeah, you can use any designer. I just realized those two are different. You can use any of the designer series paper or completely make your own. Okay, so I know this is where I want it to go. So holding it down, I'm just going to lift up this flap. And I'm just eyeballing it, so I know I don't want to go past those 2 points. And you only want adhesive just right there, okay? Just like that. And then I'm going to turn this over and do the same thing. I only want to put adhesive right there. See how fast and easy this card came together? And using the new in colors are just gorgeous. And I used, for the I in birthday, I did put rhinestone basic jewels, but I'm thinking perhaps I use the adhesive backed sparkle gems. Those are new and sparkly. Let's see. I think I'm going to use the small clear one. And again, I'm using my Take Your Pick tool. I use this every time I make a card without fail. So whatever beautiful embellishments that you have that you want to add. There's also a new 2022-2024 in color pearls. These are beautiful. Those would work well. Look at all the amazing colors that coordinate and match. Thank you so much for joining me. Hopefully you were inspired to get your craft supplies out and make some beautiful cards. Till next time, happy stamping.